Construction of the car assembly plant in Kuliapitia commences. Politicians comment on the American company that aims to strengthen good governance. Opposition requests the president to stop the move to hand over the Hambantota port to a Chinese company. Drug kingpin arrested in Colombo. Mahanaika of the Malmatu chapter praises the government the 100 days movement.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Prime Time News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Very good evening to you. Let's now take a look at your top story. Yesterday, we revealed that American firm Development Alternatives Incorporated, or DAI, had initiated a project in Sri Lanka to strengthen democratic governance and accountability. Details regarding DAI and the project continues to unravel.
In September last year, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, together with several deputy ministers and the General Secretary of Parliament, undertook an official visit to USA, where several agreements on democratic governance and accountability had been reached. The agreement had been reached with the Millennium Challenge Corporation through the US Congress. Thereby, a sum of $13 million has been set aside as a grant in order to facilitate the establishment of good governance in the country. USAID, which disperses the funds, has selected Washington-based firm Development Alternatives Incorporated, or DAI, to implement the project. Eva Gollinger, a Venezuelan-American attorney and journalist, claims that the DAI is a Central Intelligence Agency front organization for their covert actions. She goes on to say that all references in this article to DAI in Venezuela are thoroughly documented in her book, The Chavez Code, Cracking U.S. Intervention in Venezuela, which was published in 2006. When inquired into why such an organization was tasked with implementing good governance in Sri Lanka, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya pointed out that this program is being implemented directly through funding approved by the US Congress. He pointed out that both the funding and the selection of the firm had been done by US officials. However, the Speaker did note that DAI is a reputed American firm, adding that they had worked with Sri Lanka previously as well. Newsfirst inquired into the matter from the US Embassy in Colombo via email. They replied by saying that they would comment on the matter in the future. However, close examination of the DAI official website clearly shows the activities that DAI hopes to undertake in Sri Lanka. Describing their work under the governance sector, DAI notes that it functions primarily with legislative strengthening, decentralization and local government management, institutional and policy reform, public administration, civil service reform and human resources management, voice and accountability, law and justice, public financial management and health governance. We inquired from a number of public representatives into their awareness of such a project.
We are not aware of it, but it could be a parliamentary project, so you could speak with the Speaker Karu Jayasuriya. I'm not sure, but this could be a program to increase the knowledge of parliamentarians. Honestly, we were not aware of it until you told us. We should look into it. I wonder what source this information is based on. What are your sources? It is not surprising. Can you remember the main photograph used by Ranil Wickremesinghe for the 2001 election? It was a picture of Ranil and George W. Bush hand in hand. This was the main image used for propaganda, so this is not surprising.
The matter of making payment to foreign consultation firms was raised on the Face the Nation last night.
Now, the context where he referred this answer to the question is different from the government perspective. You look, first of all, I have to say most of these experts we are trying to import, right, has to go back to their drawing boards after this Trump's government. All these advisors, what they are going to give it to us has to be rethought. That is what happening in the world scene, right? So therefore, what I am saying is, my personal opinion is that although I am not a localized thinker, within Sri Lanka we have enough expertise to develop and apply to various reform processes what we are talking. Whether it is police reforms or public sector reforms or constitutional reforms, anything you name, we have enough human resources to be utilized.
Now we are paying big bucks to foreign law firms for consultation, for example Baker and McKenzie, for the financial city project, the megapolis development. Do you think that our people, the people of Sri Lanka, need a reassurance that the topic of constitutional reform will also not run the risk of being outsourced to a foreign company? Can you give us that assurance?
I can't give that assurance because giving the
So we are at fear of that happening.
you know I can give you assurance from the president's office that we will not embark upon for such a venture, because that is foolish and it will not bring any results, because if you want to have a constitutional reform campaign, right, you have to understand the different aspirations of the society and you have to manage it. So that is called campaign. It is not a rocket science. So if you closer to the hearts of the people, if you clearly understand different communities, different parts of the country, how they think, it's not a big issue. But if you try to import something against the wishes of the people, then it would be a problem.
The foundation stone for the Western Automobile Assembly Plant was laid today.
The foundation stone for the assembly plant in Labuyaya Kuliyapitiya was laid by President Maithripala Sirisena. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and a group of ministers also graced the occasion.
Politicians constantly said that a Volkswagen factory would be established in Kuliyapitiya. Is this the factory which was established today?
This is to increase the revenue. We declared open a Volkswagen factory in Kurunegala. There will be employment opportunities for 1,000 people. The Board of Investment of Sri Lanka recently came to an agreement to set up a vehicle assembling plant in Kuliyapitiya. The BOI says it signed the agreement with Senok Automobile Assembly Plant Private Limited. According to the company's official website, it is an authorized dealer of Subaru and Volkswagen vehicles for Sri Lanka. Vehicle importers opine that granting authorization for a vehicle distributor to assemble vehicles in Sri Lanka does not favour the local market. The objective of constructing such plants is to increase export opportunities in the country. Licenses have been given to 2 to 3 leading companies to achieve this objective. The main reason behind issuing these licenses was to give the second opportunity to the export sector. If they are attempting to bring down parts from foreign countries to assemble a local motor vehicle and put it to the local market, there will be a tax scandal. If the new plant is preparing for such a thing, that is completely wrong. Importing vehicles to a small country like Sri Lanka is sufficient. If they are not planning to improve the export industry and if they are planning to sell vehicles in the local market by assembling parts that are brought down from foreign countries, there will only be a tax scandal. I hope that something like this will not take place. We believe that this will be positive if they implement this while conforming to the relevant laws. This will be useful and supportive of the country's economy by increasing industries in the country only if this is implemented to uplift the export sector. Meanwhile, Kurunegala District Parliamentarian Johnston Fernando expressed his views on the newly established plant. Well, we can see how Volkswagen will turn out when it comes to the village. It's coming to Kuliyapitiya, isn't it? Well, it wouldn't do any good to me. It would be amazing if jobs are created. But the thing is, Volkswagen will not come here because its market has fallen across the world. It crumbled the moment the Good Governance government went around and said they would set up a Volkswagen factory in Kuliyapitiya. This is not Volkswagen. They will establish this in Kuliyapitiya and call it something else.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando arrived at the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division today to provide a statement. The former minister was summoned to record a statement with regard to an ongoing investigation into alleged financial irregularities at the Mahapula funds said to have taken place during his tenure as Minister of Cooperatives and Internal Trade.
අනේ හොඳයි අමුඩුගම මහත්තයා හිටියේ ආණ්ඩුවේ
Well, that is good. Minister Amunigama is speaking as if he wasn't in the previous government. So we would like to ask Amunigama, does everyone in the government have a clean slate? Everyone are rogues. But if everyone in this government is clean, we ask Amunigama if the Prime Minister isn't involved in a theft. Does his tongue not move to speak about the Prime Minister? Does Amunigama not see the theft the Prime Minister and the Central Bank Governor committed? Since the UMP eye has gone blind, does he only see with the other eye? So technically, whatever Amunigama says is invalid now. Amunigama will lose an election if one is held tomorrow. We had placed smart people to speak during the budget debate, so we are not needed to speak any further right now. The people of this country went ahead and voted without listening to what we said. We had given them the freedom to realize. We said to all UMPs that what Ranil Wickremesinghe is doing is a facade, a lie. He deals with friends and partners. The minister cannot work. They are not being backed up. All the ministers are just lying around doing nothing, like scarecrows. It is the friends and associates who are running the country and committing thievery. Even the central bank was run by a friend. It is the friends who have been given ministries and brought through the national list. 70 to 80-year-olds have been brought into steal and nothing else. That is how everything happened within COPE. During the previous general election, the president convened all of us and said that he is dissolving the parliament to save the Prime Minister. Ministers in the UMP are well aware of this. They know that the circle of friends led by Malik Samaravikrama is leading the corrupt activities. The UMPs are watching on as their party is being destroyed. This time will be worse than what happened in 2001 to 2004. So large swathe of its members are to join us. Keep it written that I said this outside the FCID.
The JVP and the joint opposition have taken a firm stand against the move to hand over the Hambantota port to a Chinese firm. While echoing concerns, they urge the agreement should not be signed.
A primary agreement has already been reached over handing over the Hambantota port to China Merchants Port Holding Company Limited. The agreement bears the signatures to the Ministry of Finance, Ports and Shipping, and Development Strategies and International Trade. The final agreement will be reached in the coming days. The government is gearing up to sign the agreements vesting the Hambantota port to China Merchants Port Holdings Company Limited on the 8th of January. As a political party, we have requested the President to suspend the signing of this agreement. The port area is 400 acres. Another 1,200 acres is adjacent to that. For 15 years, it would be tax-free. For those 15 years, no payment would be made for the 20% owned by the state for services provided by the port. The estimate is around $13,000 million. What has taken place? The former administration looted from the construction. The existing administration is looting from the sale. This is what is happening.
The Prime Minister made a promise to Parliament that nothing would be done without consulting the Observation Working Committee. What is happening now? Former Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa is the chairman of the committee related to ports. It is with responsibility that we say that this committee was not even convened once. Chamal Rajapaksa has called for the committee to convene before this agreement is reached. Is this the policy of the Litchaviv administration? There was a discussion at Temple Trees last evening. The Ports Authority was threatened. The Board of Directors of the Ports Authority has rejected this agreement. We challenged the Prime Minister. Parliament approved of the Board of Directors and Parliament did not approve of anything giving to the Prime Minister. The decisions of Ranil Wickremesinghe and Paskaralingam would see an opposition from the people. Has Cabinet approved of this? No. And we state it with responsibility. Has the Attorney General approved of this? No. And we state it with responsibility. We have the AG's report. We request His Excellency the President, Maithripala Sirisena, to put a stop to this. The monk have issued a proclamation. The rulers of this country cannot go against that.
Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter, the most venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero once again praised the gum at the movement.
Former Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa and MP Dalasala Peruma, accompanied by several others, called on the Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter, the most venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero, this afternoon. The objective of this visit was to inform the Mahanayaka on the issues pertaining to the Hambantota port. Several monks from the Hambantota district were also present.
The agreements have been created in a manner where it will be more profitable if both the ports, including Colombo, are given to foreigners. Sri Lanka Ports Authority will own 35%, while the company will own 65%. The revenue generated will go to the port administration and lands will be given out on a lease. You should not be completely against it if the locals benefit from it. There are rural areas with no roads. There are no bridges to cross rivers. These issues are clear. The Sirasa media shows them, and they themselves are solving these issues.
Thereafter, the group called on the Mahanayaka of the Askari chapter, the most venerable Varakagoda Nyanratanathero, and obtained blessings.
Panama in Ampara was an area that was battered by the devastating tsunami. Since then, for many years, these people were deprived of the luxury of clean drinking water. Under phase 2 of the Gammadda initiative, the search for clean water comes to an end.
The Gammadda 100-day initiative. With the people, for the people.
These tanks were only maintained for 2 or 3 years. The government did not have any program to maintain them. They did not have any plans for that. So the people of Panama have to walk around 3 kilometers simply to obtain water.
Though the tanks collect rainwater, during a dry spell it is evaporated, forcing the people of the village to look up in despair. The Gammadda 100 Days initiative has taken measures to provide them with a solution. The project is funded by Dr. Sujata Pereira and the Pereira Foundations.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumar Swamy expects the economy to grow between 5.5% to 6% of GDP in 2017, but warned that a prevailing drought could stifle growth.
There are significant downside risks because of, as you said, the drought, which will have an impact on agriculture, which will have and the implications on power generation, we don't know. It's too early to tell as to how severe the impact will be, but the fact that the economy is stabilizing, we hope will result in greater investment activity amongst both the private and both the domestic and foreign investor community. We see that as part of the natural progression, that as the economy becomes more stable, that you see investment picking up and driving growth. But of course it can be disrupted, as you said, by the drought conditions.
Kumaraswamy made these remarks at a gathering held to announce the central bank's monetary and financial policies for 2017. Governor Kumaraswamy also said Sri Lanka is vulnerable to external shocks such as Brexit, outcome of US presidential elections and interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve. Commenting on the exchange control, the central bank said depreciation of the currency was not necessarily negative for the economy.
It is very difficult to defend an exchange rate through spending your reserves. You know, we spent large amounts of money in 2010, 2011. I think almost 5 billion, right? Was it 4.1 billion in 2011, 2012. And at the end, we had to depreciate by 14%. And then in 2015, we spent some 2.1 billion. And again had to depreciate by, I think, 8 or 9%. So if you are going to have to depreciate anyway, it doesn't seem sensible to spend large amounts of reserves defending the currency.
Allegations were raised on the issues that arose in the distribution of state paddy stocks and the importation of rice to the country. Minister of Rural Economic Affairs P. Harrison responded to these allegations. All paddy stocks released by the Paddy Marketing Board have gone into the hands of 10 to 15 mill owners in the recent past. We have commenced the program to release paddy stocks to the paddy buyers in 18 districts. We have followed a procedure when releasing the paddy stocks and when selecting the mills. I believe that anyone can prove it if a non-mill owner has obtained stocks of paddy. We have made complaints and they need to be investigated. Why aren't these investigations being launched? What kind of commission does the chairman receive? What kind of commission does Harrison receive? I state with responsibility that as a minister of this government, I have not obtained a single cent from the mills. If such a claim is proven, I will resign from my position as a minister and an MP. They say that 5,000 metric tons of rice will be imported, and they said that 10,000 metric tons of rice will be imported. Permission was given for the private sector to import 100,000 metric tons of rice. If state-owned paddy is converted to rice, the government will have 130,000 metric tons of rice. What Dudley Sirisena says is true. What we say is also true. There will be a harvest of 1.2 million metric tons of rice in April during the Maha season. That means there will be rice in the country until August. If there will be a shortage of rice in the country, it would occur after August. So why import rice now? The tenders will be open today and we will reach a decision tomorrow. When rice is being imported, we will have a control price for that. If not, there will be excess rice in the market. The President and the Cabinet will reach a decision on having a control price for rice. If there is a price control, we will have to produce rice with less quality to meet the price. We will not allow that to take place. Rather than focusing attention on rice production in the country to meet the food requirement, the government planned to sabotage the production and use the general public to chase them away. Converted paddy was released for animal feed and beer production. As a result of that, the general public, the rice producer, the small and medium mill owners are all facing a tough situation. Rather than preventing the price increase, authorities today are releasing the stocks to their close associates and obtaining commissions. That is their main focus.
Every year, Sri Lanka incurs damages reaching into several billions of rupees as a result of landslides, not to mention the loss of life. In 2017, we remind you once again of the unfortunate fate that befell communities living on the Samasara mountain in Aranayaka, in Kalupahanawatta, in Bulatkuhupitiya and the Dennis estate in Dehiovita, as a risk of landslides still prevails in those areas.
It has been 7 months since a landslide occurred on the Samasara mountain in Aranayaka. On the 17th of May, people in villages including Siripura and Elagapitiya lost their houses and belongings. Around 200 families are still living in camps for the displaced in Aranayaka, Vilpula, Ussapitiya, Pamanua, Ratgampula, Muragammana and Narangammana. They spend their lives in huts and tents.
We lost our father a few days ago. We did not even have a place to place his body. We kept the body in the ground. We don't have a place to live. We are helpless. The small children here get affected by the sun or get wet in the rain. We request you to provide us a place to live. We cannot live in these huts anymore. The place gets wet when it rains. There are rats here. It has been 8 months and we still don't have a proper place to live.
A mound of earth fell on the Dehiovita Tamil College in June last year. As a result of this, 700 students from the Dehiovita College were transferred to the Dehiovita National College. While the students of Dehiovita National College engage in their academic activities in the morning hours, the students of the Dehiovita Tamil College engage in their studies in the evening hours. The authorities have continued to neglect these communities and have allowed this situation to continue. We cannot study during these hours. We have to stay at home in the morning with nothing to do. We usually used to study 8 subjects every day, but now we only study 5. 16 families have been living in temporary camps for over 7 months following the landslide that took place in the Kalupahanawatta in Bulatkuhupitiya, Kegol. 48 families were displaced due to a landslide that took place on the 17th of May last year. 3 lives were lost in this incident. Since then, 250 people have been living in temporary camps. When will these people receive any relief? Why are politicians acting as if they cannot see the plight of these people?
The Special Operations Unit of the Excise Department nabbed a 26-year-old with drug pills during a raid last evening in Maligawatha.
As a result of a surveillance operation last evening, authorities used an undercover operative in the guise of a dealer to nab the suspect. The Excise Department said the suspect had 36 ecstasy pills in his persons. The street value of a single pill, which is around 200 grams, is 3,800 rupees. The suspect was produced before the Maliga Kanda Magistrates Court and was remanded until the 10th of January.
We arrested one of the two key figures who distribute this pill in the country. We could not arrest the other figure. We will take legal action to apprehend him as well. They have been plying this trade for almost 2 years. These two persons are the main drug dealers. We are aware of the mental and physical effects of traditional drugs. However, research is yet to prove the effect of this drug. Therefore, the youth generation is facing a great risk. Drugs reported this year are not the ones reported the coming year. Therefore, analysts face serious issues in identifying these drugs and preparing a legal framework. It is a difficult task. At a festival in the Philippines, 5 youth died. Authorities suspect that the deaths were caused by ecstasy. In Sri Lanka, only a minor number use this drug. We inform them that this drug is harmful to the body. It increases your blood pressure. This also causes bleeding in the brain, resulting in death. This is a banned drug in the country and is being manufactured in Asian countries. This is how it comes to Sri Lanka. The youth need to be careful. We still have not been able to determine the point of entry of this drug. We will interrogate the suspects in custody and take action.
With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Bernadine Jazz Singha.
And I'm Sharon Silva. Take care and good night.